But it's all this correlation, isn't it, with Kundalini and then how it, with awakening and stuff like that. It's like, where's it all? Does it mean anything really?
Yeah, but it's kind of that. I mean, so we're not this, but anything can appear because normally it's just non-duality talked about. Okay, so it's the end of identification, but this can can identify as anything almost, and anything can appear in this, and it could be multi-dimensional. It could be, it's just mind-boggling, because the more you experience, the more mysterious it gets, and because I don't know, it's easy to be very dismissive. I think after you wake up and you haven't had these experiences, nothing really matters, and not really interested in metaphysical questions. But metaphysical questions may arise when you've had the likes of what you've had. It may or may not. You may not be interested, but for me, I love speculating about this.
I mean, it was funny once. It was my friend was really interested in it, and I said we could try and meet somewhere.
Oh yeah, that one.
And it's how would you recognise each other? How would you recognise something? It's completely mad, isn't it? It's so unknown and mystery. Gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
And there was, I think on your last talk as well, there was a guy on about all that he spoke to his ex-wife and all of that stuff. It's really quite fascinating, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, that started just that's his daily life.
It's conversations with the dead.
Yeah, no, and then I started thinking, well, he wants to become more independent of them. And it's like, well, what psychotherapist do you go to? It's just interesting. But again, it's the same thing. If you're giving psychotherapy to somebody like that, it's just the same codependency issues. Well, let's look at how it is with whatever. I don't know. I suppose it is no different. It's the same, isn't it? And I don't know.
Well, that's one. I mean, you say loss of identity, but it's not loss of the will to live.
No, that's more loss of the will to live. Yeah, it's nothing like that, because that's just there, isn't it? The organism wants to stay alive, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's just there's no sense of being this.
The organism wants to do things as well.
Yeah, I think initially, after the awakening, there may not be a kind of desire to do anything, as in, well, there may be a desire to sit. You could call it desire just to sit, because everything's so absorbing. There's a sense of, I'm still there. If you're just sitting silently, you get very absorbed in where you are. So it can feel very, almost drug-like, just sitting and. So you could call that a desire, but it's not, desireless kind of desire, but yeah, no.
But if you want to get bored eventually.
Boredom, I mean, I use the word boredom, but mostly if something doesn't interest me, I would use the word boredom, but it doesn't have that time, the pain of time, because boredom is actually very visceral, isn't it? It's just, oh Jesus, get me out of here. So it's more just get me out of here, rather than, oh fuck. There's no pain to it, it's just, so it's not, because you're not stuck in time, so it, yeah, well that's what I'm saying, cues can be really nice, but I again, because you just sink into that, there's nothing you can do, you're in a queue, you've got to wait, you can really sink into that, be really absorbed and really enjoy just looking around. If it's a supermarket, really can be really absorbing and really lovely. But if you're in a hurry, that's frustration. That's different. If you've got to get the shopping done, so you need to be somewhere. I think I can find that frustration, but I do like cues sometimes. Just when there's permission. Not that you need permission and can sit around anyway, but it's sometimes nice when there is just this permission. So you're stuck at the airport. You've got your flight's delayed. That can be pain arts as well too. But like you can just, you know, that can be very blissy here. Like, just kind of sinking into that sort of. What am I sinking into? But just there's just this, you know, really kind of being absorbed in what's around you, and you know, the mind seems to kind of dissipate in that as well. If there's any mind that just boom, you know, that's gone, collapses, and it's like, oh.
I think as much as being absorbed in what's going on around, it's also to drop deep into that sense of surrender of, I have to surrender to this situation, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do. Okay, so I think that's part of what I love about being in the queue or something like that, is that, okay.
Yeah, right, not
I just
surrender.
I have to kind of shut down so much of the activity, and you know, and I just come to stillness, and I just breathe, and I just simplify, and there's something beautiful in that, and yet it's enforced by external circumstances or my choice to remain in that situation. But it's kind of that shutting down at the same time. I don't find that it's always that I become hyper aware, or you know, that I tune into my awareness of the stuff that's happening. It's just kind of dialing down all the systems, almost like going into cryogenic sleep for a long space journey, you know. It's
okay. Yeah, okay. Like that sort of, yeah, of course. And it's funny, like meditation and all that tries to kind of mimic that in a way, doesn't it? Like, because you're not doing anything.
Yeah.
But after awakening, that's natural, isn't it? So you kind of just fall into that. For me, come over where, you know, your perception seems much wider. Like, I don't know, I get a lot of kind of bliss in the tube, and it's very, you know, seeing, I don't know, do you get that, or, oh wow, you know, which is, it's more exciting when you first get that as well, you know, that sort of like, wow, you can see much more, but yeah, I suppose, yeah, it just drops. Yeah, dropping is a good way of putting it. You just drop, don't you? And drop into stillness.
That part of me that wants to be active and wants to go forward and wants to do, and you know, he has to kind of take a back seat for a while. And actually, there's an all-round relief in that.
Yeah, it's funny that.
I like what you said. The meditation kind of mimics it.
We're just trying to do it like
yeah. So we
like,
don't need meditation. We just need a good old cue.
What's it? Meditation, I suppose, it's contrived. It's not the same, and I think that's why group meditation is more powerful, because there's a surrender, because there's fuck all you can do. You're in a group, and it feels deeper somehow. Like, I don't know, maybe there is more energy in a group, like, or whatever we mean by that. But I mean,
it feels like it multiplies, doesn't it? You know, your experience gets multiplied by the amount.
Yeah. I find it incredible. Just one other person and meditating can be. Yeah,
it's not really addition, amazing. Is it? It's multiplication. It feels like, you know.
Oh, it turns it into something else. It just goes. I mean, it can happen on your own as well, but sometimes meditation is just, why am I fucking doing that? Yeah, it's lovely. It's actually a really nice thing to do. It's like one of the least annoying things to meet up with somebody and have a meditation. It's quite sweet, actually, isn't it? As long as you don't have to lead it.
Yeah.
You don't have to say some shit.
Well, unless you're the one sitting there thinking, all these people are getting it, and here I am, driving myself nuts. I really suck at this meditation. Oh my god, I want to get out.
Is that what you used to have to do?
I've definitely done that, sure.
I don't think I did really much meditation before, like something. Probably would have done. And novelty. Novelty is another one, isn't it? Like, whatever this is, like, a bit of novelty as well, I think it gets deeper in that. Not too much, because too much novelty is stressful too, isn't it? A bit. All the things you're told to do, aren't you, in spiritual books. take a different route to work. You know, like, you know, meet new people, whatever it is.
Before I heard this message, for years I used to listen to Eckhart Tolle, and that really resonated with me, and presence and all that. And but I think I was trying too hard at the time. Like I was trying to meditate, and I'm sure I was just a ball of tension already, going like, "Come on already," you know.
Yeah.
So but he still had an effect. And whenever I see him, I do feel like this is like his stillness is infectious, you know. And I still listen to him sometimes, and I love him. But then I came across the non-duality message, and that seemed much more. I don't know. I resonated with that more, and that seems. Yeah, it's a different energy and a completely different flavour to it. But sometimes now I think, well, is he talking about the same thing, and is it just a linguistic difference, or he seems to be suggesting that there's something you can do to get to this peace, whilst the radical non-duality is saying. You can't do anything, but the piece he's talking about that he calls the self, that some might call no self, is it the same thing?
I think it's just my opinion, for what it's worth. I just get the impression he's awake, for sure.
Yeah, right.
But like, yeah, okay, so he's teaching, I suppose it is a kind of method, isn't it?
Yeah.
Increasing the space between thoughts. And,
right.
You know, I don't know. And I think it came up before, talking about that sort of pace at which he speaks is something incredibly meditative about that.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite nice to listen to.
Yeah.
And it's funny that. So there is an effect of that. I mean, it's not, you know, I suppose it's different. Yeah, so I can understand why people are really drawn to him, and also, well, it's quite nice to have a practice, even if it's not going anywhere, in a sense. So I can see the attraction to that, you know, but I can't imagine how you could increase the space between thoughts. Like
no,
like,
I did give up in the end, but there was a sense of resonance and peace.
Well, I suppose you're more focused when you focus on that, and yeah, you probably would be more patient, creating more self-awareness. I don't know, I never really did mindfulness meditation. I didn't do much beforehand. I did do meditation at home for a couple of minutes because it's about all I can manage. So I find it like torture. My mind was just
Yeah.
So yeah.
But a lot of the like radical non-duality stuff is saying like awareness meditation is the biggest trap for the me to get stuck in. As given a practice, because it keeps the me alive to, I'm getting somewhere and you're never there.
So I would see that as an idea, like, because there's nothing that can trap the me. Like, I can't see how that, there's nothing that can stop this from happening, and I can't see how anything can make it happen. I don't see the problem with that at all. And I mean, more glimpses tend to arise in meditations and stuff like that. That seems to be something that's can be really triggered, almost like awakening, abiding, awakening. It doesn't even have any, you know, there's nothing you can do about that. But so I wouldn't be put off that. It seems like another kind of inhibition as well. Like, don't do mindfulness, or don't, you know, because then everything you do is like, we can't do that because that's going to reinforce the me. Like, I guess, what is the me that's going to be reinforced? Yeah. There's no me to reinforce.
If you've been like doing it for years and it's really stagnant and you're nothing, you know, it's kind of a relief to somebody to say, it's on that one, you know.
Yeah, you're right. Because
in a way, you know, because there's still an expectation of something. You're going to get somewhere, something, you know, and it's like, get it, yeah.
And if you were imagining an awakening story, like it would be the story I would imagine is the someone who has meditated for all these years gives it up and then they have an awakening because there's this kind of change or something. It just seems, it's funny the way these things happen, but I don't know, it seems like they're happening so frequently, like it doesn't matter whether you're doing what, like. I don't know. I wonder how often it is. But.
Do you have a sense that awakening is something that, like almost like a biological process that humans are under, that like it's the destiny of eventually, because I think old scriptures say that everyone's destiny is to be awakened. I don't know many, I mean some traditions say it takes many lifetimes or whatever, if you believe in that, but is it just a natural culmination of a biological process?
Well, that's kind of Eckhart Tolle's line too, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
No, well, I can't see how you could know that, and also saying that's at the heart of all religion and stuff. I don't think it's all about awakening. Like, it's certainly like the Christian thing. I don't see the Jesus story is about awakening. It might be part of it, but otherwise, look at awake people. They're not really like Jesus. I'm not saying I know what Jesus is like, but I don't think they're very like Jesus. But I think it's about other stuff. About my, like we all have our own take on it. But I don't know. Like, maybe it is heading in that direction. Will it make a big difference? I don't know that it would really.
Because it seems to be more. It's happening more seemingly. Also, I hear from Tony Parsons, people like that.
Well, I'm sure it would make a difference. It's not the difference I think people think it. It's not the solution to everything, because I don't think it'd be an end to violence and like all the shit we deal with, but it might make a bit of a difference, but people will still exploit it too, because I think an awakening in the hands of a psychopath or a narcissist will be just more powerful maybe, and more insight in how to exploit. And then you'll get codependence, all the people pleasers will be doing the bidding of the fucking narcissist who's awake, and they'll be just going around going, we're loyal to you, we love you, and just doing shit. I don't know, I just see the same shit playing out because of repression and everything else that's still there. And
can you be awake if you're that type?
Well, it's a personality, isn't it? It's ingrained, it's a trauma reaction, and it's established very, very young, and nothing can knock it. It's impervious to treatment. Actually, when somebody is narcissistic, is in psychotherapy, while they're in therapy, there could be a little bit of change, but once they're out, they're back to where they are. But you get a malignant narcissist or a psychopath,
But they're never going to wake up, right?
Awakeness can happen. It can happen to anyone, absolutely. It's got nothing to do with that. That's just personality. It can happen to anyone. It's just they're not identified with being a psychopath. They're not identified with the person. It's the same thing. It wouldn't make any difference. Why not? There's no one. It's not excluding anyone.
It's the classic attachment. The narcissist, he or she is attached to themselves. They're addicted to their own imagined perfection or whatever.
Well, it's not. Well, you say addiction, but those same dynamics will be played out. Of course, because but the same as everybody else's dynamics will be played out, because it's just different. Because if you've got no empathy and no fear, and some people who wake up have no fear as well, if you've no empathy, that can lead down such a dark path. And there are pro-social psychopaths who are probably quite nice while they destroy you. But I don't know. And I think there's still a little bit of projection left when people wake up anyway. Like, because people are still looking for recognition in a way. Like, people are always mentioning certain awakened teachers' names, as if there's a sense of, I think, people still, looking for daddy to love them, or in a way, we're not absolutely free.
There must be degrees of awakeness. Sounds like there's the good ones and the bad ones.
I just think we're just all fallible human beings, and we're just, we've got all that envy, so you're awake, so you're not living from, the identity, you're not this, but there's all those desires can rise up, because once thought is there, thought wants to do something a lot of the time. You want this, you want that, you want recognition. Desire is desire of the other. Desire is created through other people, so it's through relationship. We learn what to desire, and we get caught up in, you know, rivalry through that, and
Competition.
yeah, otherwise we'd never fall out with people. We fall out with people because of, we'll give a very sensible answer to it, but usually it's because, you know, because of whatever, I don't know, the reasons we give are not always what's going on. We can never know what's going on, but we're just, I don't know, would you ever do something and you say, oh, that's not me? I mean, I do, you know, that's not like me, but it's like, you know, we've just got all this, we're more conscious.
But we're a massive contradictions. You know, so.
Yeah, we are massive contradictions. We become more conscious, you wake up, but we're not conscious of what we're not conscious of, and then we are conscious, we're looking back and going, oh, okay, I was awake, but I was still being a twat, okay,
Yeah.
so like, you know, it's just, I don't know.
I just imagine though, I know, you know, it's just imagining it, that when there's more, like, less need for things, because there's more of being, like, okay with what is, that, like a narcissist who would want this and that and the other, that would die down, all of that desire and stuff like that. That's just how that those patterns would just maybe play for a while, and then, because if there was like, you know, you're just okay as things are, then the patterns that you used to follow to sort of fulfill yourself would come to or possibly start to drop away. I don't know.
I think there is a lot of that, but then, so say you're awake and you're very peaceful and you're sitting around, you know, in nature and da-da-da, and then suddenly overnight you're famous and you've got all this money. I think you might become start to get quite narcissistic and, oh, I'm waiting for my table 10 minutes. You know, I don't know, like desire can grab hold of us as well, like, or else suddenly you need money where you didn't before, and you're like thinking, oh my god, yeah, I gotta do this, I don't know, like, I think naturally, given all things being equal, yes, there's a lot less desire and there's fulfillment, and it's not coming from a sense of lack. But if the shit hits the fan in your life, you don't know how you're going to be. Like, if there's, you know, what people are like in a war, and
yeah, totally unknowable then what.
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I'm probably talking out my ass. I'm just guessing.
Or as you said, you know, the opposite of the shit hitting the fan. Also, if that happens, right, as you said, you know, imagine you wake up and you sit there and you're all peaceful and you're just love and light, and people start to come around and they say, oh, and they start to fawn all over you and, you know, give you praise, and
next minute you're a big guru with a big gown on.
and there it is, right? You know, rather than bad things happening, but how do you handle the good happening also? You know, that can also corrupt you, right? You can get attached to that. That's probably the kind of more...
But that's like a blindness though, surely. There'd be like a blindness when you look at the way a lot of, I don't know, teachers, guides, whatever, you know, have become very sort of elevated. And, but there's some kind of blindness in it, that they've something that has they've allowed that praise to and be put on a pedestal to happen.
I imagine that happens subtly over time, right?
But if there's no identity...
I don't think they go into it looking to get, you know, whatever the end result is, you know, the guru who is, you know, gets done for being inappropriate. I don't think he goes into it, I imagine, quite a lot of the time. He doesn't go into it looking for that outcome, but that's just what develops, right? Because it happens so slowly, and it happens in the blind spot. In the blind spot of, oh, I'm awake and all is well, and particularly me.
I would say if you're a narcissist, it's very natural, and they would go in and first thing they'd be like is, oh, that one.
Do you think they'll be angry?
But other people would be more corrupted over time. That would be my thinking, but then you pick at the guru. You know, we all point at the gurus, and then sort of like, well, like what about non-duality, but like it's all happening in smaller ways, isn't it? With, you know, you don't look at the non-duality speakers because they're not selling anything. Like we're all susceptible to that, so it's easy to kind of point at these guys. But yeah, I think you pretty much said that we're all corruptible. I think we are, like, except, you know, I'm sort of thinking, I suppose not everybody is either, but most people are, like, but the more self-aware you are, the more in touch with your feelings you are, the less corruptible you are, because you will, it's different when you know, isn't it, when you know what you're doing than when you don't know, if you're normal, I think, because, you know, that makes a difference as well. Yeah.
So awakeness and awareness, or self-awareness,
Well, awareness
where's the connection, or is there any?
Well, awareness is just talking about the personal. You're aware of things, isn't it? You know, but it's been turned into a thing, like, you know, I am awareness, or, you know, but I just talk about it as, you know, you're aware of something. It's not, it turns into a kind of another thing, or an identity, or, you know.
Because you were sort of saying that people can be awake and, you know, still be idiots, for want of a better word, as in narcissists, even psychos, you know, so they're not, if that's how it is, then they're not really that aware. I mean, who wants to be a narcissist or a psycho?
Yeah, but we're not conscious of everything. I mean, the right brain is the child brain, and it's all the kind of emotional brain, and it's picking up on a hell of a lot more than the left is, which is the cognitive. And yeah, there's all stuff that's going on in this room right now I'm not aware of. You know, like what colour you know, what somebody's wearing, maybe what somebody said, the look and stuff. But it's all kind of seen. Like, we're unconscious of so much, and so it's just natural that you wake up, you're not conscious, and you could say, well, you know, so nobody's fully conscious. There is no way, you know, how could you be? We narrow down our focus, don't we, to make sense of things.
So you're saying it's almost like the biology, the character, or the messed up personality sort of continues.
Well, I think things come to light more and more over time. If you're kind of health orientated, then just you become more and more aware. You get more and more insights over time, and there's more and more clearing away, I think. But like, if you never experienced something as a kid, you'll never know what that is. So if it's love, and you know, you've never really experienced love, you never really experienced being cared for, or you've never experienced anything other than abuse. So you don't know what the opposite of that, you know, what love looks like, or should look like, what fairness looks like, what, you know, if we've never experienced something, we don't know what it is. So like, you're awake or not, you still don't know what that is. Maybe, you know,
You have to teach yourself.
Well, maybe there's plenty of things on YouTube, but like, yeah, well, but there is an increase in awareness. There's a, you know, and ultimately there's, you know, the identity falls away from this. You see that there's just oneness. That, you know, it's the end of, you know,
But presumably, with the identity falling away, a lot of desire falls away, or all desire.
Well, nothing depends on that then, because, you know, personal history is there, but it's not owned by anybody, so there's no investment in whether it was shit or good, or it's actually quite interesting material there, like, you know, whereas before it might just be like, oh my god, there's things you don't want to talk about, but it's kind of all okay.
So you're more of a witness than being involved.
If you like, that word's got so many connotations, but like, yeah, if you like, you just, I think, yeah, so it's information as well of the past, but it's also beautiful too. You know, there are memories that come up, and there's some, you know, the emotional energy goes out of a lot of that, so it's not the same. But you might have, if you've been traumatized, I can think of one or two memories and I can still, you know, get emotion from, but mostly there's no kind of except for like a kind of loving feeling, maybe. So it's much more benign, and the acceptance of, you know, the.
So I'm curious about what you just said there. So there were things that maybe an earlier point in your life that you could think about and it would move you.
Yeah.
But now that doesn't happen.
Oh no, certain things can, in a way, like in the moment. Yeah, well, it is in the moment anyway. Everything's in the moment. If I'm sharing a memory, yeah, there can be in the moment. There can be a feeling, a nice feeling about it. But there's rarely pain, or there's no identity. I guess there's just no identity with that. I'm not saying I can't be, because sometimes I share it and I get quite carried away. I want to talk about what happens, or
Yeah.
so yeah, it's interesting. You can get quite caught up in that. So I suppose, but there's a couple can still make me feel quite sad. I don't know. How do you experience it?
Well, I just it was something I was considering whilst going about my day to day. Actually, is that you know, I guess there's if I tell the story of something and I get involved in the telling of the story, then I can probably get to the point where I start to feel emotion about it and embody emotion about it. But there were, you know, for example, I don't know, I won't even cite the example, but I just realised there was like things about my earlier life that I used to, when I kind of spoke about them or thought about them, I felt like I could be moved to tears, like in this case joyful, but and it came very easy and you know,
right.
every time, and yet I realised today that when I think about that now, nothing comes. There's no feeling that comes. I guess if I was to sit and tell a story and get involved in telling, then it might come. But I just realised the absence of that, and I was like, oh, is there a closure happening here? But so when you said that, it kind of, I was like, is that what is it the same for you?
Well, maybe in the telling of it, for certainly I can get excited about telling the story, or you know, but it's not the same caught up in it like pain, because I suppose pain is much more, I don't know, you get more sort of enmeshed in that, don't you? Like I say, there's one or two memories I suppose if you got trauma there, then there's something that's still got emotional energy to it, so one or two would still give me a lump in the throat if I talked about them. But that's one or two out of like millions, you know, all these like, so yeah, most of it is, or you can tell a story about, but it doesn't have, I don't know, it's not you, but there can be an emotion in the telling of it, but it's different, it's very different, isn't it? It's very, very different, but yeah, I suppose some of it's exciting. I suppose some of it I find quite interesting and exciting, and particularly, but I suppose if I'm talking about it, it'd probably be for some sort of analysing it, which I love doing. I love analysing things, so it'll be rather than just.
I guess what's different and what's changed is the meaning of that, right? The sum total of that on this side of waking up is completely different, right? Because before I would kind of, you know, there was something crucial about that, and it meant that maybe, you know, and kind of the outcome was kind of on tenterhooks about life, and now nothing is on tenterhooks, because I understand, I see it all, and there's nothing to be worked out anymore. It just is, and I have understanding for that. So it kind of flattens it in a way.
There's no shame in it, is there? That's what I find.
That too. Yeah.
Which is a relief, because
that just is, right? I just did that. That just happened. Or that just happened, you know, to me or whatever. But yeah, there's no shame, or, you know, it just is.
Or attachment, presumably, to the whole story or the memories. Or it seems to be the opposite to what the imagine with therapy. Let's talk about your childhood, you know, and dig up all this crap that's going to drive you mad for once, you know. It seems to be the opposite to that.
Yeah, but I mean, the roots to freedom psychologically is in the childhood. That's what I believe, and a lot of people believe, because if you don't see it clearly, the patterns that happen there, you're doomed to repeat those for the rest of your life, and it's so obvious. You look at it every time you try to change your life, you're like, oh right, well I'm with this person, I'm doing this, it's all different, and you'll, same dynamic, we get caught in loops, so we don't, and so many people are in denial, so they idealise their parents, so they're not acting out their anger or whatever there, they'll be acting out somewhere else, you know, so it's, however much you regard it as a story, I see it as an important story, and if you don't really know what happened in it,
maybe you don't know because you're too caught up in it, you know, that rather than being able to analyse it. As you said, you like analysing it.
Yeah.
But you don't like reliving it every time you tell it.
Oh, when you're caught up in it, yeah, and a lot of people are caught up and then there's no
You can't
distance.
see the way out, or it's dragging them back or holding them back.
Yeah, it's really, but I just find it fascinating, so I do like going into that, because if you don't know your own history as well, like how can you understand psychological books and stuff, like it's, you know, some things you can understand without experiencing them, but like all the roots of that are in your own history, so it's fascinating. What rings true here is because I know that, and I know that from here, you know, so I don't know.
Are you able to find the feeling of love that's specific to any one person anymore?
Yes.
Yes? Because I find when I think about my parents or something like that I'm aware of how of the value, of the gratitude that I have, and aware of, you know, but I don't find that it doesn't pull on my heartstrings.
It's not the same, but yeah. But there is.
You know, in the field of the big love, it's very, I don't know, the separate love kind of doesn't really manifest anymore.
Well, that's where it can be confusing, I think, when you first wake up, because you could kind of just go out with anybody. A little bit, because the intimacy's there, and I think, but there is and maybe it's hard to pull apart, and maybe I don't, you know, like, because there's certain, you know, points in your life, like a certain night, maybe there's somebody you want to see for a very specific reason, and you feel very fondly, and, you know, sort of thinking of certain friends at certain times you just want to talk to, and no one can replace that, you know, and you love them for certain qualities they have. But I know that, yeah, that intimacy can be there with anyone, but not everyone you kind of want to get close to. But it is weird. It's that because the intimacy that was there in a love relationship is there in all relationships in a sense, you know. But not the feeling of longing. Obviously, that's not there. Like, but yeah, that is odd. You can just sit with a stranger, and it can be. And I think the more open the other person is as well, the more you drop into this. Like, so I think, you know, yeah, it's odd. But nevertheless, you want to get close to specific people. Like, there is that, certainly in my case, you just want to get close to very particular people, and it's not just interchangeable for me. It certainly isn't, because, you know, because there's certain people open you up, you can be completely yourself with, and certain people shut you down a bit, don't they? And,
yeah.
And what you've got in common is there as well, and however fucked up they are, whatever way you know, like, it's all this alchemical stuff too. So, you know, but yes, I don't know. To be really honest with that, no, there's no. It's all the same. Because you're intimate with a cup of tea, aren't you? You're intimate with a wall. It's all intimate. It's all kind of like. And I can't really remember how it was, because it was like you're in the street and you're this embodied thing in the street, and sometimes I'd walk along and I'd feel very lonely and alienated from where I was, and I just wanted to be home, but home was a specific place and it never really offered me what I wanted it to offer me, and this is just that familiarity and that at homeness. I mean, of course you can't, it's not always kind of like it, but it's generally kind of like that, isn't it? It's just everywhere's kind of it, and okay, and except when it isn't. Shit. Sort of thing. Obviously there are exceptions to all this stuff, but But I'm still getting insight. I love talking about the past a bit, because you get another insight. I just love it. It's just like reading a book. It's like, wow, right, okay, I get that. That goes with that. I'm joining the dots, and that's interesting.
So presumably relationships and friendships change.
Yeah, well, you're more there, I think. You're much more with that person, whoever it is. So, are more intimate, I suppose. Is that what you mean, or?
I'm just wondering,
Right.
I mean, or maybe you think, no, this one never worked, so I'll leave that onto one side, sort of thing.
Well, some people don't like it when you're awake either. So my boyfriend at the time found it really boring, because I was just smiling at people all the time. But
I think for this one, there's speaking of what you're saying, there seems to be a dropping away of wanting to be in friendships that I had, and like long-term friendships. I'm talking like girlfriends that I have no, it's like my interest it's like it's dropping away. It doesn't want to be in that environment anymore.
oh yeah.
And they'll have, like, conversations will be going on, and I'll just be sitting there like, I can't relate. It's just what the drama and everything that used to be there is just, it's just literally dropping away, and wanting to be in an environment like this with like-minded people. I mean, literally, I flew 3,000 miles because there's nothing like this in my area. And there definitely is, like, that just hit me. It's like, yeah, it's a definitely drop. There's a dropping away. I don't know if that's the right word, but something is definitely changing, if that's the right terminology.
Yeah, no, it's really common in these groups, that sense of not belonging to the groups that they're in, and relating through drama, and you want, and even after awakening, it's nice to be around people who get this or into it,
because I could never have this conversation with any of my friends. They'd probably think I'm alien or something. Like they wouldn't. But
one thing I would say about that, and you said your relationships change, just to give you a reflection. What I also found was that when everything changed, and I thought, fucking hell, people are going to think I'm nuts, but actually most people, in a surprising amount of people in my experience, were able to kind of have a degree of conversation. If I was courageous enough. And to be honest, at the start, I couldn't not. I couldn't dumb it down. I couldn't, I couldn't. So I was really surprised by the amount of people who were, previously in my life, who had some degree of recognition, some point of relatability to what I was speaking about. It surprised the hell out of me. I thought they're all going to think I'm nuts, and actually, that wasn't the case.
I don't think I would even know how to express this. I think that might be, maybe that's part of it too, is that I don't, like I'll go to a gathering and I'll just be quiet. And normally I'm not a quiet person, but, and they'll say, why are you so quiet? I'm like, well, I don't have anything to say, because I wouldn't even know what to say about this, whatever this is, I don't know. But it's, yeah, so maybe it's just over time it'll come, I don't know. But how would you, I don't know how to.
And yet you so eloquently spoke about exactly where you're at, I completely get it, and I think you're choosing all the right words.
But you're here in the same capacity of understanding, whereas when it's, I really don't know how to explain it. It just seems like it's like I don't know, it's the lack of being in that environment anymore. It's just kind of like
Can you not start a group in Florida?
Sorry?
Can you not start a group?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't even, at this point I wouldn't even know how to go about doing
Oh, right.
it. Yeah. I think it's just all too new.
Okay. Yeah.
Because, like I studied, Advaita Vedanta and everything, but then when I heard, when I was explaining how I heard Tony talking and I was so mad, because I was like, I don't want to hear, I literally, it took me the longest time to get through that one interview that he was doing on Buddha, the gas pump, I'm sure it was 10 years ago, whatever. I would just turn it off, like he'd speak and I'd turn it off, and then, but something kept going back to it, and going back to it. And then I found Richard, then I found you, and it's like, what the heck? It's like, so it's been less than, I'd say, it's just been a couple months that all of this is like, okay, and then it's like just this kind of subtle, just dropping, it's the only word I can explain, use, is things are just dropped, maybe.
That's common.
It's just.
It's painful as well, isn't it?
There's no, I wouldn't say pain.
Okay.
I would say it's just kind of like, when you were talking about energy, it's almost like a release maybe?
Okay.
Because I've never, the whole Kundalini thing, I've never had like that kind of experience, no experience, nothing like that.
Right.
No, it's just, maybe a relaxation. Maybe that's a word, a relaxation, maybe. But also it's hard to find, it's hard to put words to going back to, the relationships, being, even with my husband, I just like, I don't know, it's just like dropping away.
Oh yeah, oh God, yeah.
It's just,
Mm.
it's there, but.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I've heard.
I don't know, I'm probably not expressing it right, but, but then maybe you're right, maybe if I talk about it, maybe they would, or maybe they, who knows?
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that if the fear of, that if you were just I don't know. In my experience,
Mm-hmm.
what happened was so total, so fucking big that when I spoke about it, I couldn't really dance around it. I had to literally just say, and it's the energy that really speaks. You know, the words. So yeah, I would say that if you could, look, it's happening.
By the
It's
way, it's
happening.
9 o'clock.
Is it? Well,
We can continue in the pub if you want.
Yeah.
If anybody's up for.
Awesome.